I'm already getting hot. I can tell the temperature's working. No, I refuse. Are you feeling better though? Is it warmer?
No, I just forgot about it. Like I have acclimatized. It feels.
I know it's actually literally warmer in here right now. This system is so efficient.
It did get some.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll just take off my tie and pretend everything's just cavalier right now. Lions are lying down with lambs. The world has stopped. Chocolate milk is being served on a Wednesday. Okay. Just so you understand how it works, live stream goes on live. Later on, it's still there. It doesn't get erased. So I title it by the course, and then write it. So Chem 12, and I'll have a block, F. It's for in case I have more than one, but you're the only Chemistry 12, so if that's missing, that doesn't matter. And then it will give the date. So you can go back to that date and see what it is. Doesn't always work, because sometimes, so it's always good to have a study buddy in class. So if there is someone in class who is not in the same sport as you, because if your study buddy is in rowing and you are also in rowing, or your study buddy is in volleyball and you're also in volleyball, then you will both be gone at the same time. So that's not really going to happen. And I'm doing all this rigmarole so that I can actually draw and do things on notes. And so that's why it's over here. I'm going to ask your opinion, because I just put it here because this is actually smaller than the Woodward classroom. It's a very expensive $70 million building that I'm not going to complain about. It's a little smaller. So I put it there so it goes back a bit. But like I could put it there, but then I feel like the desk is in between me. It feels more intimidating. I could put it in the corner, and then like the front row would be like 3 desks, and then it would get wider going back. Maybe that would be better. If you have an idea of where it would go, it would be better on everybody in terms of you're the grade 12 class. So obviously you are my top priority because you're going to university next year. Let me know. We might try it a couple of different ways. You go to the YouTube channel. There we go. We are live. So youtube.com. Oh, by the way, have you noticed when you try to search things on Google now, Google is really, really bad, and everything you get is kind of like pablum. Someone has attempted to program a version that accesses Google, but it takes out a bunch of the AI drivel. It's udm14.com. It is still Google, but you get results like it's 2018 as opposed to 2024, and the results can be a little bit better and different. So it tries to get rid of all the AI stuff that people are. A lot of companies now, what they're doing is when you search for something, the web page didn't exist, and when you searched for it, it created it to pull you in there, and it's just AI random paragraphs to hopefully draw you in, thinking that this is written by somebody. So you're looking up sewing, it'll be random sewing advice that it got from somewhere, and you'll recognize the pattern when it does that. Okay, let's go into my live stream. Where's my live stream? Your videos. And live. And chemistry 12. And there we go. And then we can put up and double check sound is working, hopefully. Excellent. So the microphone's right there. That's a big white thing down at the bottom. It's not a camera. It's not an eye looking at you. I'm going to turn off the sound because that's incredibly annoying. It will just keep recording. So I'm recording this class, but we're probably not going to use it because you're going to be doing your lab. But just so I don't have to do this next day in terms of how this works, so you can find it. And if you go onto the Google Classroom, I also want to show a few other resources, and since it's recording, now would be a useful time for do so. So we have our Chemistry 12. Now I mentioned last day, where are your KBATs? Does anybody know what KBAT stands for? Know and be able to do. So those are the learning outcomes for the entire year. And we're going to start off with reaction kinetics. That's actually your first lab. We're recognizing factors of control. So they are like detailed out A1 through A7. That's all of reaction kinetics you need to know. Here's collision theory. Boom, boom, boom. So it can be very precise. And then, if you go into exam and quiz study, these are old exams. And the code in front doesn't matter. The only thing you're looking for is this little p and that little pk. As long as the code matches, you can open this up, and that's an old exam. By the end of the year, you should be able to write any one of these. So here's the first one. Which of the following is most likely to have the greatest reaction rate at room temperature? 4 different reactions. So you can go through, do all those questions now, see how good you are in the exam. Of course, we haven't done most of the material, so how would you know what to do? Pick the one, same number, but has a K on the end. That's the key. So the question to number 1, the answer is B. They also have a competency scale. It roughly works out as a K is a knowledge-driven question, so that's a communication. A U is usually some sort of critical analysis question, and H is like a difficult critical analysis question. It's a little higher learning there. But the part you're interested in is there and here. That was A1. They call KBATs PLOs in this system, but you just look A1 and A6. So if you're having a quiz and I said on A, you could just open up exams and do all the A questions. The long answer also tells you what KBAT it comes from, and in the key tells you the answer. It gets the key. I'm a very busy husband. Where do you think I get my questions for all your quizzes and tests? You did, right? AI. God, no. AI doesn't know how many R's there are in strawberry. I argued with it, I'm not kidding, for 45 minutes about an oxidation reaction that it kept getting wrong. Bothered me. I wanted to teach it something. Now, so you could, technically, if you did every single question in all of these exams, you will have done my entire test bank. Now, I reserve the right to take out questions, modify them slightly, change the numbers, do other such things. But if you're the type that worries about, like, I'm not going to know what the question looks like, these are what the questions look like. Do not do them for practice, as in to learn the material. Do them to study to see how well you've learned the material. You have a Hebden book. Hebden's going to be given in terms of what you need to do for homework. Hebden is fantastic for learning because it starts at a level and then it gives you all the different ways that it can get harder and helps you learn it. This is testing you on it, and it doesn't care how well you're learning it. So if you understand the material and you're not doing well in quizzes or tests, do more old exams. If you are not understanding the material, do more Hebden. Is generally how it goes. Studying stuff you understand but you don't ever get right, you could do an infinite amount of Hebden and learning and it won't do it. You're having problems with question interpretation in new situations, do more of these. I want you to know that this exists. That way it shouldn't be so scary when we have our first test. I'll talk more about the retest policy. There is and isn't a retest policy. I have it kind of built in, and I'll discuss it a bit more next day because I don't want to go over that too much. If you could get out this handout and your lab book. You also have, did I hand out the lab style guide last day? Everybody got a copy of this? Excellent. And, oops, not that. And we have guideline, where's the style guide? Oh. Now, what I'm going to ask you, once we get started on our lab, you're going to need to take your data. I will come around and sign off. I said I'd do it at the very beginning, but given that we'll want to get started, I may come around as you're doing it, ask to see your pre-lab, and then quickly sign you off. You're going to need a observation section, your table set up. We're going to grab whatever you need in order to do your lab. We're not allowed to do it in there because the lab's not commissioned yet. The snorkels aren't working. Ms. Stewart still has a ton of stuff to get going. The lab prep room. I walk in and I completely relax because everything's just spread out on the floor, and it panics Ms. Stewart because she is a neat person and I am not, as you can tell by the state of my classroom. So she still has a ton of work to do. So we're going to work in here. We're going to work on the tables. We're working with water and Alka-Seltzer. I just realized I have to go steal it from Miss Carol because she has it all. And I'll bring it here. I'll get some beakers. I'll have maybe you come out and get some beakers because you'll need some of those. We should have hot and cold water in here if you need different temperatures. Oh. And if we don't, I think there's a kettle around somewhere that we can also get. And someone asked for isopropyl alcohol. I got some of that. We also have some oil. Is there anything else that people think they need? Someone said something about different size beakers. We have no flame because none of the gas is set up. So we have, hopefully, I'll just let this run and we'll see if this heats up. It did the other day, but they've been doing stuff, so I never know what they have day to day. Yes? Ooh, I'll go ask. That's a good point. Okay, thermometers. Okay. If I could get. Now, although we're not allowed out there, we are now doing a lab. I'm going to ask you to come out and get some goggles on. Get things off your desk to get it ready as a workspace. And if you would like some beakers, if I could get some people to come follow me.
Oh, you're doing it differently. Me? Yeah, I'm doing surface area. How? Different size. With what? Different size. One's like diameter is different. Like this. Is that surface area? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Mine's the writing table, Paris. Writing goes on the writing table.
I wonder.
What are we getting?
It's slightly warm.
not in groups. Everyone sit at their desk, so I know who's in group and who's not in group. Thank you, bro.
Okay, Mr. Hogan.
No, I got it. Oh wait, I'll take one. Yeah, take our group. Sit down. Sit down so I know. Oh, do we need goggles? Wait. Marcus, did you grab goggles? I didn't grab goggles. I did not. Can you go grab goggles? Do we need goggles? It's like water.
It could explode. You don't know.
Who's sit? That's so true.
Okay, wait. This is being Portia. You need one ice cube
Do we actually need goggles? Like, is it? Yeah. Good, we're chilling.
No, I didn't.
Ours is being funny. Did you run it? You can run it in cold water. Go ahead, run it. Go ahead, run it. You're funnier than I am. Shut up.
Okay. Alright, you're only allowed two bags, okay? Goggles. I guess. No, you can't. I get two.
Wait, I need to do 5.
Do we need goggles? You need goggles?
Oh,
Goggles.
Goggles
Goggles right here. Did everybody get a tablet? Here.
Can I have another one?
No. No, only 2. This is bad. I went to see Miss Carol and what she had managed to get. The store, she bought at the store. She has 2 classes, I have 1. We each get 2 boxes. I'll see what I have left over.
Yeah, I think I get most people.
Okay?
What if I split? What if I
Hold on. Am I getting attention?
You don't have the seltzer in your eye.
What's that?
You get gross.
Does every group have tablets?
Can I get the cake?
No. Well, I'm going to answer it a different way. Is there any group that doesn't have tablets? Okay, now every group can have a second tablet.
Go, Harris.
Thank you.
You can have one more extra one because there's 2.
Yep. And you can share them.
Okay, wait, then I'm
Do you guys only need one more?
Okay, perfect. Then you
Okay,
guys
perfect.
Let's just have 3, yeah.
No, they're all the same size.
Anybody else? What? Okay. I searched for the thermometers and I found the box they used to be in, but they're somewhere else.
Wait, what is this for?
So at this point you're at qualitative observations, room temperature, and hotter than room temperature.
Okay, 5 different. No, because the actually no, because it'll have salt and other things.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Okay, but like we have multiple tablets. Can we go do that?
Wait.
Do you want to go collect the ocean water? Yeah, let's go for it. Can we
But it is getting warmer. It is getting warmer.
Everyone grabbing ocean water. Okay, let's go.
That's the hot water. No, that's just the hot water.
I'm gonna go back and look because I haven't looked at those shows. Now they've given up the.
So we can do hot, cold, and
So, I have 3 tablets. I have 3 tablets. Can I do a 2
Can you what?
Can I have
No, I have to give these back because she's gonna need the same. So we have quite a few.
Like that, it's salt water. We can't use salt water for one of them. That's just like that. We just have to use different things.
Let's go for it.
Oh, gracious day, I found the thermometers.
Mr. Yao. Mr. Gonzalez.
Yep.
Can we go to my room so we can get ice water and boiled water? Because I have both in my dorm. Do you have a
They
cat?
aren't just effervescent tablets. You're taking the beakers with you.
Just put the water.
Yeah? We need a thermometer?
Yeah.
You have to come back before the end of class.
We're just gonna work, I think our plan is just bring the water back here.
Yeah, are either of you, are you both in the same house?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I have a thermometer.
You may have a thermometer.
I'm going to take 3 meters.
A thermometer, as it were.
Oh, well, we can bring some water. Yeah. It's so cloudy. Why?
It's gonna, this is gonna start cooling down. Oh. Yeah.
Look at that, it's rising.
Oh, cool. Want the thermometer? That has been so many chemicals, Isabel. Oh my god. Yeah, I definitely think so. We can try that, or we can just, okay, let's. Yeah. Let's do this one first, because otherwise the temperature's gonna start dropping.
Okay.
And like you. Okay.
The temperature is at
3.5.
Oh, it's no longer milky.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
Is it still hot?
We need time.
Wait, where'd you guys get the thermometer water now?
Yeah, I did too.
Where'd you get the thermometer?
Oh, in that little brown box.
Is there thermometers? In the wooden box. Yes.
It's exactly what I needed. Okay.
Whoa. What the, why are you guys already doing that?
Wait, we only need 223 for one. We only have 2 towels. Oh, nice.
Wait, is this hot? Oh, it's hot. It's gonna work. Okay, and then it's very dumb like a
Okay, we're
No. Why is it like
write it down.
it's just air, it'll go away. If you just leave it on the desk, it'll go away. It's not part of it.
That's actually not right. That's 35. 35.
It's not that hot.
I'm not gonna know.
Okay, that was time was 28.98.
Oh my god. Oh, what are you thermometers for?
Look at our box. Is there, so there's no kettle? And then
No kettle, I can't find it anywhere. I swear I saw it 2 days ago, but everything's moving around. So we have hot water there.
I turned the tap on like the full way, and it splashed everywhere.
Because,
let's see if we can get.
yes, but, you had both.
Okay, we got it. Let's go.
So, I'm so
hot.
ready. Okay.
And if you're ever confused on this side,
Okay, let's keep
shows
showing
you little arrows, the plus and minus, to turn it on.
Wait, my camera.
Elena. Stop.
I'm putting this back here.
Dump this out in the sink.
Yeah, should we get on it?
The only thing you can't dump in the sink in terms of harmful chemicals is oil. Room temperature water would be in there. This is for the hot water right now.
What box?
Oh, wait,
The box that you're standing right in front of.
there,
On
right
the
there,
desk.
right there. Desk, nope, there you go.
Just like thermometer.
Yes.
Where do I get room temp?
Okay, that's cold.
They
Oh,
changed it.
that's because the cold is on. Now we put on the hot.
Okay, well, hot. Not like they get.
Cold, you can just step out and go down there and get one of the things from the green handles. This is hot.
I did a lot. Is this all?
Sure. That's where you left.
Put it in. Let's do cold. And then like, over there. And then we'll come back to it.
And I can just start, right?
Yep. I'm gonna come around the pens and just see your lab notebook.
That's why. Oh my gosh, you guys look so science.
Not anymore.
Any grade 12s go down to breakfast this morning?
I did.
What did you think of the new science exam?
Terrible.
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 Too long of a line.
I was waiting on for so long.
Now, one thing, once we did discover that nobody knows the alphabet.
Yeah.
But the next time, if they remember
So wait, why
where
are
they are,
Oh wait, they have the same
they
amount.
just have to go with it, so I volunteered to do it again.
What does that mean? 3 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we just
There was almost no line at the hot food, but it just made it hot food was always short.
Yeah.
So you just lined it in a different spot.
I mean, I feel like that's the same as the line before. Like, you're gonna wait regardless.
Yeah.
shoes are so, they're like SpongeBob shoes.
When I was regular,
No. Portia.
Thank you.
We should be able to make the signing faster.
Or they should just make like allow rituals to just go past the line. There's no point in us waiting. There's no waiting for people to sign in. We should be able to walk past.
And then it's like,
Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, we're better. Okay, I'm just gonna cover on this line.
This would be house?
So it is 15. No, 17. No, I'm mistaken.
yeah, let's say her bus.
Okay, almost 224.
Stop. What do you do?
Okay. Let's write down our observations.
Measure this one and see if we would need it.
Oh, wow. Wait, it's heating up.
You're gonna need to write things down. You're gonna need to write things down. No, I'm just doing, you're gonna need to record this.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
You just need to
I'll change it just for you.
Oh, no, I'm like turning around.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay. Oh, so you will need,
Like stop.
okay, we have a choice.
Put your hand under it.
One of the problems you're doing it that way, it's not
Oh, it
bad,
smells
but
terrible.
if your observations, ideally, you wanna leave the table open-ended so you can write more, and then just write things as you need to.
Why don't you like this one like
Well, if you don't need to, it's fine too. But, you can either rewrite this in pen, or you can trace over it. Wait, it does need to be in pen,
It needs to be in pen?
all of it, even the data.
Oh.
Yep, you can't erase pen, as easy. You should never also scribble something out.
Okay, can we put the element
So we were right, this is truth, that's what you wrote down. Because what if you were trying to establish a pathway and you had data you crossed out, but that turned out to give you an idea of an experiment that then went on to like, I don't know, you made transparent aluminum. That data is really important to you, maybe your employer, if you scribbled it out, you can't prove you did it first. Also,
Let's see if we can get like a temperature. Wait, how cold is that? 33 here.
yeah. You know the whole reason, the whole reason people think that vaccines cause autism is because a guy faked his data. He was hired by a bunch of lawyers who wanted new ways to sue biological. And they said, can you research the way and see if there's a link between vaccines and autism? So he got a bunch of children, he gave them spinal taps, and recorded a bunch of data, and then faked the data, like he gave different results.
But he was right, because obviously
Oh.
all vaccines are like.
He had his medical license pulled, not because he faked his data, but because he gave them spinal taps. If you're faking your data anyway, you don't need to do that. So he hurt children unnecessarily.
You can get
I can just see your laptop for a second. Beautiful. Nope, I'm just signing, I saw that you're up to there, the signature, will let me know that I have to do that. I'm gonna have to come through. I need to see your lab book.
They don't need their.
Are you writing in pencil?
I know, I need to switch it.
Have you switched it?
Dude, how do you
You
get
have to switch right now.
The whole thing.
You can't write in pencil at all.
Can I at least do this in pencil?
No, you now must immediately grab a pen and start writing it.
For everything I just
Everything.
This whole page too.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Wait,
yeah, but for right now, just continue as you were in pen.
okay.
Are you in pencil?
Pencil. Do you prefer color?
I will say that black is preferred. Just probably for more historical reasons. I heard there's now a switch for blue because it shows it's not photocopied. Like black and white. Yeah. But I don't care the color as long as it's pen and letter. I can read it. So if it's light yellow, that would be a problem. Is this in pencil? Because it's immediately switched to pen. We will have to go
I let
every
it run for a while.
Yeah.
Dude, can we drink it?
No, the cold water I got from the ocean.
I'm going to say, I'm going to let you answer that question, but your proficiency in the course of the entire year may depend on your answer.
Wait, but isn't it?
Wait.
It's like lemon lime, no?
Are you ever allowed to drink anything allowed?
No.
Just walk a little bit, put it down on the desk, and then check.
Sorry, you grabbed it from me. Sending it on. Well done. I've seen your pre-lab. Who's pre-lab have I been? As long as you can annotate, change this. It's a working lab document. So if you change it from procedure, you just annotate it. It's not technically mustard gas, but you'll make chlorine gas. So you did that.
Oh, is mustard gas? Oh, no, Marcus, log in. Hang on. No, not yet.
That's fully done. That's fully done.
Hang on, look. 36. What's the first one? Oh,
Were you
61.96.
Oh, so you got Oh, okay. Okay, do you have your lab book? So just do it today. I'll just sign off that you were there. So just do it. Oh, but what I do want you to do before you leave, I want all that data in here. So just start off with the data. And then. No, I just want to see the pre-lab. Oh, I already signed yours.
So
I've already signed yours. Anybody in this class who I've not signed up? Pardon? You may use your phone for a calculator or a flashlight. There was once a group that got everybody's phone together, and one of them, they just put all the flashlights on around it to see if light would make a difference.
I'm gonna go. Wait, Chris, can I feel your temperature?
Oh, yeah, no worries. If you need to write these down, you write these down. Questions?
Maybe it's just all.
There you go. Thank you. We're all good? Does anybody still need the hot water going? Should I water the water? We're making a hot mess. Oh, sure. What?
We went to our house.
Oh,
It's 12:30. I would say if you host me, probably have the time. You gotta be back here. But yes, I will let you. Be polite. If they may say no.
No, I didn't do it right.
But you're under 12 and have more pull.
Oh, you're gonna say the gas, right? When it's on like
Let's go get boiling water from the cow.
Bullshit, I keep splitting it.
New, do you think we could go get boiling water from the cow? He's gonna punch you.
Sorry, did someone ask me a question?
We could get boiling water from the cow, like at that little tea dispenser.
For that I will say no, not because I don't trust you to be able to get it, but that if you fell and boiling water spilled on you, that is a safety hazard that right now I'm not prepared to carry you to the first aid place. I once spilled it wasn't my cup of coffee, but it was a very hot cup of coffee. It was basically boiling. I spilled it on myself. I was in the hospital for 3 days because that big of an area can be quite bad. So boiling water in the room, yes, but carrying it across campus,
From the boiling water?
probably not.
Do you just want our data from the boiling water?
I do not. No, you can use this if you just want straight in.
Why is my ocean water 19 degrees? This is. How cold is your ocean water?
16.5
See, that's because I dumped my ours out and then I got another.
No, wait, you mixed it up. Your number 1 is the ocean.
Wow.
Not to me. He's not gonna like fully compare our.
Okay, so we can try for one more. We can just cross out this one.
Come on.
Can I just dump this down there?
Yep. No oil in there. Yep. Down the drain is.
So if you want to take this and just write down this whole thing.
Mine?
I swear I saw you.
I do.
I need another Alka-Seltzer tablet.
Oh, no way.
You say yes?
You need one or
I
I
do.
need
You
one?
need one.
No.
Okay, well, we're gonna try one.
Keep on. Ready?
Okay.
What degrees is that?
21.
There's a lunch with that.
No, it's not. It's mac and cheese.
Right here. And then recycle.
Okay, basically fine.
Feedback. You know what I have to do a mini quiz in the beginning, and then I give my mini quiz to Stella.
And then like in the middle of
trading tests. Carrots and Ruby. But we all decided the same thing. No. Ruby said the same.
No.
I know. It's actually look here really fun class.
Oh, I know.
I was excited to do it. Well, I mean, math is my forte, so I got all of the questions right, but like, I'm still. I take a lot longer to read Stella.
Yeah, but Stella's literally our So don't feel
Inferior, stupid.
confident on the
Let's go. What?
10 minutes. Hello?
Can I eat the tablet?
No. Can you eat anything from a lab?
It helps
in a
with
lab?
tummy aches.
No,
No,
but it's
never.
not. You didn't dissolve it in water, so like the
Yeah.
carbon's gonna come back out too.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So you're gonna like burp.
But burp helps with indigestion.
It's already fully saturated.
I'll write that down. Slight bug.
Tiny mini bug.
It's fully saturated.
If I have an extra sound, it's super saturated.
They are super saturated.
Yeah,
If
just
I had an extra tablet,
put that.
dude, look, awesome. Making my own look.
A gas chamber?
Doing, bro.
We're just making gas too.
Oh, sick. Your swink's gonna be wet now.
Yes.
She's a little damp and left.
And
You make it fully
take your time. There, found it.
Yeah, how do you feel like
Beatrice is here,
I looked at hers.
and
I got 3 before.
Okay, that's good. Wait, which one did you get
One
wrong?
it was like third one.
Carrot?
I realized halfway through that what the answer was.
Okay.
So it was like
Yeah.
Portia, you got your. It looks like you got your pencil case.
that class, like
Okay.
so far, it's not something that hard. I thought it was gonna be that good. 'Cause AP
Cole.
was, like the first class last year.
Nicholas.
I was like,
I don't even want to talk about you.
Elena. And Sienna. And Isabel. And Marcus. Definitely. Declan. They're in front of me. Hannah. Anna.
Yeah, I wish
There, there.
got 18 pounds like I'm but I'm scared that he's giving us like little easy program questions and then he's gonna like throw in random ass like
Lily, yeah.
chalkboard questions.
Mia.
Here.
Naomi.
I think it's anywhere.
And Evan is here. And Matthew.
it was like all graphic.
Oh, yeah, mine was
Yeah.
I think it was like
That is the only help from our kettle has gone missing. So we have one, but it removed and then putting things away. And then, that's the hottest thing right now. Someone suggested going and bringing over spending all time.
Yeah, I got it for free.
so if you're kind of solving computer changes at 1:08 or at like the time 3:08, you have to take
Yeah, as long as you don't turn on the cold water, it's at least warmer than enough to see a difference.
I think the iPad is
Oh,
Mr. Newfeld, are you saying I absolutely have to go over all of this?
yeah.
you can't have pencil on a lab, no?
Yeah, it's super
I was really
confusing.
staging.
Control variable will go up on the x-axis?
Yes. Unless,
Time is the uncontrolled,
the only exception for that is time. Time is always on the bottom because humans just like it there. That's literally why it's the exception.
I got a problem.
I will try and attempt to solve it.
Okay, well my experiment only has one variable.
Okay, that's good.
Surface area
Okay.
and time. Could I put that on, how would I put that on a graph?
Well, your experiment has tons of variables. Hopefully you controlled for all of them but one. So you only have one uncontrolled variable.
Yeah, time.
Especially for math.
So I could put like diameter of surface area?
Well, you use how many tablets?
4.
And if you're doing surface area, did you have like whole, crushed, broken in half? How did you differentiate?
I did whole and broken in half.
Okay. And in that case, yeah, you're like, and then you're measuring, like how much was left. I'm assuming.
No, I measured how long it took for the tablet to fully dissolve.
Okay. So you're measuring time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, how would I do that on a graph?
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you.
I could have.
That sounds so rough doing both of them.
Oh, okay. I got it.
But I want you to figure out a way that you think best represents that data.
Like I know Mina did that last year in my like my class, and she like got a lot of the tests right on pre-calc 12. She did all the tests. So it's like, you learn real fast and you're fine real fast.
It sounds like something that I know. It sounds like something.
the water's a solvent, yeah?
Yeah.
Why are you writing about that?
Can I mix these now?
I'm already writing in pencil.
You know,
Yes.
Can your analyzations really bullet point out? Or does it have to be like,
Can your
you're like analyzing your
Well, we need
results?
to get
They
rid
can
of
use
the
my
phone. We need to start.
follow-up question. Can your discussion?
I don't care what uses those. Like this.
Yes, you can start cleaning up. All liquids can go down the sink. Please dry with paper towel. Any thermometers and put here, and then any beakers can go back here. Everything else, I think, can be discarded.
I'd say so too.
Oh, how dare I misspelled analyze. Oh, come on.
It's already super septic.
Would I
She's gonna explode.
for?
She's gonna like you're gonna drink it and then open it.
Oh, you only probably have 2 or 3 data points, so that's not a lot. So you don't have a lot of data points. You're looking at either bar graphs, because it's just 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, or you could do a line of best fit, or you could connect the dots. You could do all 3 because you have so little data. You're actually good with any one of those. As long as you explain, this is what we did, and you can interpret the results. Yes. Please.
For dependent and independent variable, so there's time and temperature. Our dependent is time, and our independent is temperature. So which goes on the next.
You have 2 different things at a different temperature, so that's a variable that you changed.
Yes.
And you have time at definite intervals that you're recording. What are you recording?
This that's the tablet.
So you're measuring the point at which all the mass is on. So your variable is essentially the size of the tablet, and you just have all there and none.
So we're recording the time it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for a graph, which is x.
Oh, yes, you will have to make that decision.
So I'm just thinking.
Yes? Oh, glasses, go back where you got them from?
Do you want us to make like a graph or something?
Yes. Sounds like a good idea.
But if we don't, because it's like 3 points.
Push it's not that
You're making the best possible life you can. All right. So maybe you've done a lab in which a graph is entirely unnecessary, and you're actually going to paste in some pictures of a play you enacted to describe it. Actually, there's a great program, Dance Your PhD. Have you heard of that? They get together and they come up with an interpretive dance that demonstrates their PhD. One person who won one year, they were doing DNA duplication of a certain time with an enzyme. It was actually fantastic. Because DNA and movement has a lot of movement in it, it really showed what their PhD was about. It's intended as a way, like, there's more than one way to communicate things other than just writing it down when you're trying to get it across in regular people who also need to know about it. Imagine if every PowerPoint was replaced with interpretive dance.
Why is my graph? Where's my line?
A bar graph is acceptable. What I'm not going to do is tell you what you do, but you are allowed to make it. Because how you recorded the data and what data you have, there may be a way of displaying it that's better than others, and I'm letting you make that decision for now. There we go. Is there any more tablets left
I mean,
over?
it's right, because it's technically.
Anybody with a tablet they are not going to use?
From here up.
Okay, I will put these back.
And here, so when you, so
Drill?
I would draw, I would extend this out first. Draw like this and then add 2 arrows to each side. So that's continuous. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do this first. I have this when I went to the eco challenge and it's just
Use graph. Let's make a graph. Yeah, on like how.
it's all mucky.
Ah. Today is Monday. You've gotten some homework today. You'll get some tomorrow. Wednesday or Friday.
Well, you say on Google Classroom.
No.
Yeah?
It's not.
It didn't. No.
No, it's taken 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And oil's taken 16.
Yeah.
And it's no.
Because you've just, now you may have done this in chemistry at the lab when you did solvents. Like dissolves like.
Yeah.
And that tablet is salty and very polar, which water is salty and very polar. So it should be the absolute worst in oil. And that isopropyl alcohol is only 70%. Isopropyl alcohol is a little bit polar. And then that 30% water that's in there. So yeah, it should be quite a bit slower. And that's the nature, that's a factor we just called nature of reactants. Different things do things differently.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was guessing how.
So, pick the date. Wednesday or Friday? Wednesday. Everybody good?
Five?
I like you. See, that way I didn't have to do it. You get
Yeah.
all the flack. I get no blame. And I just get to set up. Well done. Excellent. Me. Well done, me. Elena, is Wednesday okay? Because then it also takes it off your plate. So you don't have to worry about it all the way up to Friday.
Will we ever have labs like online where we can do like
Oh, like a formal lab where you type it up?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But I wasn't going to do this like that. And like you're making up a
most of the
whole
other
new
labs
experiment.
Would be like that?
Not most. I will probably make you do 1 or 2 like full formal labs.
Okay.
But I want you to have some practice at doing a lab first.
Is this formative?
Everything's summative until it's formative.
So if we do good on it, it's summative, but if we do really bad on it, it's formative?
Like
N-
he's not saying it's formative, so you don't do it. Oh, but it's like
Well-
it's a practice.
Mm.
But like you gotta do it.
Right
Like,
now, as soon as I mark it, this is your only mark for the year.
So
And it
it's okay.
counts for 100% of your mark.
dope.
But as soon as you do another lab, then I would have the option of you do better and show me that you've learned, of making it formative. This is true while you're working, and I'll just go through then the marking policy. If you are at the back and you prick up your ears, you will write quizzes. There is usually a quiz a week on the material. The questions are drawn from the old exams I showed you. If you do better on the test than the quizzes become formative. However, while you're writing the quizzes, they are the only mark I have in that unit, so they are summative at that moment. And as soon as you write the test, they become formative. Unless you perform poorly on the test and the quizzes are actually a little bit better, I'll keep them. They can boost your mark a little bit. That's fine. And then you're going to write a unit test. And then eventually you're going to write a unit 1 plus 2 test.
It's the same as every culture for Tuesday.
And that second test can overwrite the first test. And so the first test can become formative because the second test is on 2 units. And then the third test will be on 3 units and can replace either of the first 2. But if you do worse than the third test, the other 2 still count and they'll boost your mark. And then we start over. So the fourth test is 1 unit, the fourth unit. Does that make sense? I might diagram it next day because people do ask me about this all year, and I'm like, it's very simple because I've been doing this forever. So, yeah. Yes? Elena.
How do you do labs versus quiz? Is it like 50-50 grade-wise? Or just like input?
No, like right now it doesn't matter what they're set at in terms of percentage because the only thing I'll have once I mark it is a lab. So it's 100% until we do something else. I don't make it like 25% or a third or anything. At the very beginning, you may have a lab, but you may end up with 5 or 6 quizzes and a test. And you've done way more work in that, and 1 lab shouldn't be dragging your mark down.
Yeah.
And so at the very beginning, I make it lowish so that everybody doesn't freak out if they did poorly on the lab, that it's affecting their mark so much. Because I did, when we moved to the new mark book, I just did that because I figured it would work out like it does with traditional mark books, and it didn't. So I do change it, but it starts low. Yeah. And you have an opportunity to do another
So
Uh,
lab.
if we do better on the lab, then quiz can also like make it.
Only labs can replace labs. Only tests and quizzes can replace, well, only tests can replace quizzes.
Okay.
And only exams can replace all of your tests.
And lab.
No, only labs can replace labs.
So like the exam in
Yeah, so
Like
if you
in
get like 100%
December.
In your
on the
exam,
final exam, but
Yeah.
got zeros on the labs, that's like a 50.
yeah. Well, to put it another way, I snuck in to UVic, and I just run around their lab departments. And then they have like old marking sheets up for first year, and I get to see. And then I go and I bought all their first year lab books for like biology, chemistry, and physics. Like, how are people marking days in universities? Has it changed from when I was a student? There was no real change. Labs are worth between 10 and 20% of your mark, but if you don't pass the lab, you fail the course.
I mean, not exactly, but that's good.
So labs are not as important as the course content, but you have to pass them. And when I was there, if you missed the lab, you got 0, no exceptions. They didn't care if you were sick. The only change I could tell is that if you missed the lab because you were sick, they gave you an opportunity to make it up later.
so
And if you missed the makeup day, they gave you 0.
will you do that as well?
So how I do labs is, let's say that one of you wasn't here today, and it wasn't, I like, sometimes what I'll say, just come back at lunch and we'll have the material and I'll be here on this day and you can do the lab. On other days, like, it was a one-time lab, we had the material, we have to put it away, we can't keep going. In that case, I just don't give you a mark for the lab, you never did the lab, and your mark comes from all the other labs. So you don't have to do the lab, but at the same time, you don't have the opportunity to do the lab either. You might have just missed. It doesn't count against you or for you.
You can't just take your partner's data and give it to the lab.
Even in some cases, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But there will be portions, like if I'm specifically marking a section that you had to do, it might be that it's just not, like there's a practical aspect to labs that you might not be able to. But there's cases, not Camosun, at UVic in one of their, it wasn't, I think it actually might have been first year physics.
Well,
If you got someone else's data, they minus 20% from your mark. So if you weren't there, you could get the data and they'd give it to you, but then they automatically deducted your mark. That was both if you're away and if your lab went so badly you didn't trust your own data, you could just get data, but you took the penalty. I don't do that. I'm just always curious what universities do.
Yeah. So wait, exams can replace tests?
Yes.
Okay. So if I got
Your,
like,
your final exam,
oh, so not like, do we have an exam in December?
we have an exam when we're done unit 3, because it'll be on 3 units.
So is that like a
1, 2, 3.
midterm?
Yeah, well, we won't be done that by midterm, but yeah. I mean, it's like a mid-year maybe. It's not even mid, it's like a third of the year we'll have done it. Maybe a little less.
And can that replace
I can
tests?
replace the first 2 tests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's probably better to like try really hard at the beginning of the year
Yeah,
because it's like easier.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's often true. And I say that like what I really don't I want it to be calming, like, oh, I can get better and my mark will go up. But at the same time, what I don't want it to be like, oh, I don't have to, I can just work hard later. Everybody here has experienced grade 11, the jump in workload that happened. So grade 12 is no different than grade 11, but you don't get that big jump. It's just the same with a little bit more. So you know from, how many of you got really behind in your Hebden last year? At some point, be honest. Yeah, how hard was it to catch up?
Hard.
You need
Yeah. You need to put in the time. Chemistry 12 is the same. You're going to get Hebden. Don't get behind. If you stay up with it, it's not that hard. You've got the extra exam study as well that you'll probably want to add in there. So as long as you keep up, it should be okay.
Wait, so if you like nail the first like 2 tasks, can they
Yeah.
replace the other ones too?
The third, no, because it has new material. But they won't stop counting either. I won't take them away.
Okay, so if they boost your mark.
Yeah, don't advertise that too. Like, I'm confident because this is a system that lots of universities use. In fact, when I took second year inorganic, you could do the homework assignments, they counted, but if you didn't do them, they didn't count at all. Because if you did better in your midterm, it wiped out your assignments. If you did better in the final, it wiped out your assignments and your midterm. But what he did is he gave you the midterm like 2 days before the course drop date. And then when everybody heard his policy and didn't study because they're like, oh, I'll just do good in the final exam, he would walk in, show the midterm marks, and then show his statistical prediction based on 18 years of data what your mark will be on the final exam based on your mark now, and then encouraged everybody under a certain mark to drop the course. Yeah. I think it was his way. University professors are not trained in teaching if it's a true university, they're trained in their subject matter. So you go from here, where I have been trained to teach, and I have a chemistry background, to someone who has a chemistry background, who just wants to be in the lab all day, who's forced to teach. But they're an expert in their field. I was sitting in biomedical ethics class, and the professor walked in. He was like 20 minutes late, and he was on the phone with the government in the UK advising them on a medical ethics bill. His main method of teaching was sarcasm and making you feel very small if you asked a stupid question, which, if you weren't the one asking the question, was hilarious, but it also made sure people didn't ask questions in his class. But he was brilliant, and he's talking to people about biomedical ethics. Like, that's his job. So from here, in high school, you spent your entire life learning how to learn. At university, you get to take those skills and learn from people who are doing it every day. A business person may not be able to teach business very well, but they'll have great ideas how to run a business if they're running a business, kind of idea. So that's the difference between high school and university. Sometimes they're not good at teaching. However, they can be brilliant. The most brilliant one I knew taught theoretical chemistry. He wore a lab coat for fun because he never stepped foot in a lab. He just sat down and thought all day. His method of lecturing was he had one of those old school, plastic you write on, you put on new sheets. His just rolled, and he just continuously rolled while talking because he would just use the previous however old his notes. Never stopped, so you'd look down and look up and it'd be a different spot and just talk the whole time. He was terrible at teaching. But if you went in after hours to talk about anything to do with his field and subject, his breadth of knowledge was so huge. They just should have never had him let him teach first years. He scared a lot of first years. Don't let that scare you from university though. It was a lot of fun. And being able to talk to experts is so gratifying. Oh, right, I was putting in the due date. So Elena has confirmed it's due Wednesday. Well done, excellent. Oh God. No. Oh, I should check. Is there anybody that hasn't been into the Google Classroom? Everybody is in there. Excellent. So, last work, creation date,
Sure.
edit,
What's that? What is it?
due date.
What's the unit of light?
What?
This other thing.
The meaning of life? What?
Unit of light. Okay. I'll just.
Where did you see that?
No, because.
Did you ask what is 1 unit of light?
Like, what do you say? Like, because like you don't have control over like the lighting. So how do you say that the light?
Oh, you
Like,
were
just the,
so
the
it,
energy path, like the.
yeah.
path.
So we would talk about photons of light, and then you measured in lumens, and that's intensity of light. And if you were worried, so your experiment was under fairly steady light conditions, so you could say that was fairly well controlled. But if you had a reaction that actually really needed precise control of the amount of light, you had a photo, you would probably do it all in dark or under special lighting where it didn't react it, and you would control for that. Like your experiment is open, like you did an open beaker, so you had stuff escaping. That's how you could watch it disappear, so you didn't get to record the mass either. So it wasn't a completely closed experiment. If you were worried about energy, yeah, lighting is a source of energy. Would it have impacted a tablet? Probably not, but it might have. It's not a bad thing to consider. Oh, September 11th.
You have to analyze the results.
So yeah, what you have to do is analyze your results. And then Evan might want to pay attention to this part. Where it says use graphs.
Oh,
Yeah.
we made a graph.
Yeah.
We made one.
Okay. Good for you. And then follow-up questions / discussion. So you can just call it discussion and answer those in paragraph form. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, that's fine. And that's the whole lab. Oh, what time is it? 1:03?
Is this a fine word?
Hmm?
Is this a fine word?
Oh, don't worry. When I evaluate it and I take marks off, I'll give you all that feedback. I do have a question though. Why are these so curved?
Because I meant to put the temperature on the 7th time here, but I just felt like nothing fun.
Okay. I don't know if anybody's ever told me, it's a little depressing. Can't have that kind of fun in science. You're allowed to have the type of fun where you choose what color to make the graph, but you can't just curve the data if there's no evidence for it curved. Now, in another sense though, that reveals a really deep understanding in that, could it be curved? Absolutely. We just don't know.
Oh, I know.
You know. Yeah.
I'll read it.
No, because part of this lab too is one of the things I'm giving you feedback on is what are all the different things you need to improve in a lab notebook, and I'll circle all the things. So just do the best version that 11 years has taught you. Is there any lab equipment? Oh, there is some more that needs to be put away. Given the time, if you could finish up cleaning up, get everything on up here so I can get out to Miss Stewart. I'm going to put this on here. Because I do have to take off right at 1:15 to go to the house party. No. Oh, my policy for going early is never. I totally understand. Like 1 o'clock comes soon enough, and then you have to be here till 1:15. However, I would feel extraordinarily guilty if I let you go early. If there is ever a moment of time where we have nothing to do, there is always time to review or revisit something because your marks matter. And when do your marks matter the most? Yeah, because when are your marks due? Yeah, because university acceptance will start coming in and applications as early as Christmas. Or winter break. Or Hanukkah. Or Festivus. The festival for the rest of us. Yeah. Oh, if you could stop it and say, and give an estimate, you could even estimate like 50% dissolved, 10% dissolved, not dissolved at all, and then you're done. It's all back, they don't have the UV cleaners anymore, so we're going back old school to 10 years ago, where we just keep reusing them and dishwasher them
I love
once in a while.
nose germs on
To be honest, for like, until COVID, we never washed them. Like, we never UV'd them that regularly, because nobody was hyper concerned about things like that. And we were supposed to have the UV goggle cleaners up, but Ms. Stewart asked, and the people in charge of the building were like, what are you talking about? It was definitely on the list, but we're just not here. Yes?
For the follow-up questions, is that homework if we have it?
So, for the due date, all of this. Yep, follow-up questions. Wednesday. It's on the Google Classroom now. And I would prefer it to be handed in class, if you can. If you are like, I'm going to make the due date, but Mr. Neufeld, I'm going to hand it in after class. See me. So I can arrange how that will occur. Foobalt. And now I have to sign your land books and your data before you go. Where's my bag? Preferably. Nice purple. Okay, I'm going to assume everybody has their data by now. I'm just going to sign your actual data before you go. You can get out your laptop and show me. Oh, when you're in class, you should not have your phones out at any time. It is now a policy of the department that in every science class, when you come to class, you're going to deposit your phone in like a wooden bin. The wooden bin hasn't, well, it's got little slots in it. They haven't arrived yet, and I've just forgotten. Yep, I'm just signing off on the data in a different color. So I just want to, yeah, they're magnetic. So much easier, I don't lose them. Because I used to buy like 12 pairs and just have them everywhere and I would lose them so bad. And now they're just around it. Just need your lab data. Lab data. Don't forget to number your pages. Oh. A reminder, in your lab book, you should be numbering your pages, putting your name and date on the top of every page. Yep. Where's your lab data? Yep, every page should be numbered, starting at 1. Never write something somewhere else.
But what if I mess up?
But what if you wrote something here and then you lost this? This is also your, you can mess up.
Well, I write them like next to each other. I'm not writing them in separate time.
Somebody could have run in here and steal that.
Okay, so if I like write them
Yeah. Oh, lightly cross out, do it again. Yeah. Especially, is there any data in here?
No, data's all.
Okay, data definitely has to be in there. I mean, scratching out the procedure isn't too bad. Data is the really critical. I'm just signing out on your data. Oh, just, you're the only one that needed that, so just put it up there. Sorry? What? No, I'm signing your data.
No, the other side is a graph.
That's your graph. That's your data. Yep. Yeah, I signed it for the prelim. That's why I'm using a different color. Because it was empty before, right? So what's that? Oh, what did you?
That's the one you just did.
Yeah, but when I signed there, that was empty. So the purple lets me know if I see later that you had data when I signed it the second. Yeah. I'm gonna try and keep the red pre-lab purple for data. Did I ever sign everybody's data here? Data. Data. is it like it's off my table? I'm done. And name, lab, C&G, good. The other thing I will say, put your the class chemistry 12 and block number on it, just so that if it ever gets lost, because I have old lab books from the and sometimes I can't tell them apart. I don't want to lose the wrong one. But if you want to hand it in, let's say just put it up. Data? Did I sign your data? Where are you exchanging from? Excellent. Are you just here for the year? You're here for the whole year. Well, that's not an exchange. That's just a student.
Well, yeah, there's like people do like grade 11 for like just 1 year, and then it counts as like an exchange with this school specifically.
That's most Germans. German schools hate Canadian schools. They hate most schools in the world. They don't trust them. They're like, you did not actually do any work. Yeah. Data? Just your data. That's your data?
Pissed off now.
Just your data. There. Perfect. And anybody whose data I have not signed? Are these yours? Oh. Oh. I don't know if anybody here knows Etienne Furry, but he says hi to all of you in chem class right now, because he's going in respiratory therapy program right now, and he's doing chemistry right now, and he was in my course, and he just saw the live stream go up, and he was notified. So, he says good luck, and the notes apparently came in handy. There you go. I'm assuming we're done. Excellent job. Oh, and I should stop the live stream, because it's been live streaming nothing pretty much the whole time.